The news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Thursday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And you know what? That haze ended up being a lot more than I thought it was going to be yesterday. It was kind of hazy out.
Yeah, and the thing is we don't have a major front kind of pushing it out, so until we get more of those south winds kicking in, it's going to linger. Yeah, it's not going to go away anytime soon. We take a look at the current conditions outside. Aside from the fact that it's hazy out there, conditions rather quiet. Temperatures in the 60s in Rome, 56 in Saranac Lake, and 59 degrees in Hamilton. There are pockets of clouds this morning, but overall pretty dry. Yesterday, quite the scene of random pop-up downpours and thunderstorms. Some pockets of our area getting a heavy rain. Meantime, other spots, not a drop of rain at all. And that's going to be the case again today. You can see some of those pop-ups taking place just north of Hamilton County in some of the High Peaks area. Air quality a little bit worse again today, but bear with me here. This is not additional smoke. This is the smoke that's just getting wrapped around again and then eventually is going to push its way north. So following today, we're going to see that smoke lift, the air quality slowly improve. It's going to take a few days, but again, today, sunshine mixed in with a few clouds, hazy sunshine, I should say. Temperatures in the low to mid 80s. Again, we're tracking those pop-up storms. I'll explain why we're seeing these storms coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. After an audit by the New York State Comptroller's Office, the village of
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Thursday. Quite a week it's been with wildfires, the haze, the smoke, the air quality, and we're still dealing with it today. And on top of the smoke, there's also the potential for a few downpours. Now, personally, I drove through one of them yesterday, and the rainfall was extremely heavy, to put it lightly, no pun intended there. But we take a look at some road conditions this morning, starting out with a live view of our cameras. And again, it's a quieter start. It's hazy, some areas of fog. Like the past few days, it's been a relatively quiet morning. Visibility check right here. You can see 3 miles in Rome, or in Hamilton, 6 miles in Rome, and 8 miles up north in the Adirondacks. So green across the board on the traffic tracker and throughout the day today. This morning it's dry, but it's hazy. This afternoon, sudden downpours could fire up, and inside them, extremely heavy rainfall, lightning, maybe a few wind gusts. Nothing is expected to be severe, but still, garden variety thunderstorms could pack a little bit of a punch. We're going to track those storms this afternoon, plus the latest on that wildfire smoke coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The Harp Museum on Columbia Street.
Omni, cutting-edge surgery without the cutting.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning time now, 5:18, almost 5:19 on this Thursday morning. And yet again, it's a foggy start and a hazy start to your day today. A look at Oneonta. See some of that fog trying to form out there. In the areas where there's, of course, no fog, things are mainly clear. But like yesterday, we're going to be keeping a close eye on a few pop-up downpours. A couple of them are firing up or trying to fire up in Hamilton County right now. The rest of our area dry. Of course, you notice right behind me here in Vermont, there is a pretty heavy rain shower taking place out there as well. So air quality today is a little worse than yesterday, but this is part of the process of the smoke clearing out. The winds are slowly shifting, and in the process, we're going to see some of that smoke get a bit thicker before things get better. In fact, here's a look at the latest trend. So here's that plume of smoke wrapping its way back around again, but watch as we head into the next few days, it's going to gradually lighten up. Now, why is it getting thicker? Well, we are no longer getting the smoke directly from the wildfires in Canada, but all that smoke kind of got pushed out toward the Atlantic and then is getting wrapped around again. So that's the reason why we're seeing that increase today. So I do want to do a quick explanation about these pop-up thunderstorms that are taking place today. If you're wondering what is causing these pop-up thunderstorms, basically you have this warm air rising, or at least forced to rise by terrain, like the Adirondacks, the Catskills, or the hilltops in the southern valleys. And on a day like today, we have what's called the cap here, basically a warm air inversion that's preventing that air from rising and tapping into that instability up there. When that air gets forced above that cap, that's when the air continues to rise and storm clouds begin to form, like right here. Watch that storm cloud fire up, and that's when it produces those downpours. So on days like today, we have that cap, but it's below the higher elevation map here. So anytime that air gets forced upwards, it breaks the cap and fires up these thunderstorms, like what we can see in parts of our area today. Starting out in the higher elevations and then drying up tonight. Same story for Friday. Still not that widespread, just a few pockets of downpours and thunderstorms. Not nearly as widespread as yesterday, by the way. And then Saturday, so far looking dry and sunny and warm. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s as that heat really kicks in by the second half of the weekend. Upper 80s, and then in the low 90s by Monday. We're not seeing any cool down, at least for the next 5 to 7 days. Still feels quite like summer out there. And of course, progressively throughout the next few days, that wildfire smoke will continue to clear up. So good news on that front.
Yeah, I heard a little thunder last night, but I didn't see much rain in Utica.
Yeah, I drove through a downpour heading home from work yesterday, heading south to Utica, and then I drove about 5 minutes south.
Nothing.
Dry. Crazy.
Pop-up thunderstorms.
Yep.
Eric, thanks. Well, the time right now is 5:22 again, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Libitor. If you head outside this morning, well, get ready for a little more haze. Eric, it just doesn't seem to want to go away.
Yeah, that's right. We have some more wildfire smoke in our area today, and I'll explain why it's getting thicker. But first, let's take a look at the current conditions outside today. We begin in the 50s and 60s, so not too bad of a start temperature-wise or even condition-wise this morning. However, in parts of the Adirondacks, there are a few downpours starting to fire up. We can see it right here on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, and it's mainly in the High Peaks area, well outside of central New York right now, but as we head throughout the late morning, early afternoon, the instability will be enough to where these storms will fire up and produce some pretty heavy rain. So air quality today, a little worse than yesterday, but this is not new smoke. This is just the smoke that was in our area that's wrapping its way back around again as that south wind will eventually push it outside of our region over the next couple of days. So this is about as worse as it's going to get between now through the end of the week. Temperatures peaking in the low to mid 80s. And again, we're going to track a couple of those pop-up thunderstorms today. The reason why they're forming and when that wildfire smoke eventually leaves central New York coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. Now to two very...
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise, everybody, on this Thursday morning. And your photo of the day today, showcasing what wildfire smoke can do to your sunshine, make it appear almost blood red. That's the photo right here, sent in to us from East Herkimer. Look at this right here. And the process of what makes the sun red, basically the sun, or at least the sunlight, is a huge concoction of colors. Basically the prism, yellow, blue, green, indigo, violet, all those. However, the higher energy wavelengths, purple, blue, green, those ones get filtered out the more particles in the atmosphere there are. It's scattering taking place. So basically the only colors that survive, or the only wavelengths that survive, are lower energy, longer wavelengths, which would be, in this case, red. So if you're wondering why these smoky sunsets have very red sunsets. Well, that's the reason why. So thank you for that submission. If you have a photo like that you'd like to share with us, send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. Still, the latest story, not only being wildfire smoke or the potential for downpours the next couple of days, but also look at this. The temperatures back to midsummer form, almost reaching the low 90s by early next week. We're going to track that. Plus, again, the latest on that wildfire smoke and those rain chances today straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. On Wednesday, a commemoration.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Time now 5:51, and on this Thursday morning, yet again, it's a bit hazy and a bit foggy. Look outside in Oneonta. Well, a bit difficult to see out there with that fog starting to form out there, and that's of course driven by some potential rain showers that passed through parts of the area yesterday. And we do have some of them we're tracking this morning. Now, they're not widespread. They're mainly focused in those higher elevations toward the Adirondacks and heading into Vermont. Here locally, things are looking mostly dry. Air quality today a little worse than yesterday, but this is not new smoke. This is just smoke that's returning a little bit, getting wrapped around this area of low pressure out near the Atlantic. It's basically surging that wildfire smoke into our area. So in the process, this is going to produce heavier smoke today, but in the next few days, air quality progressively improving. So while air quality improves, we still have chances for pop-up storms today and tomorrow. I want to explain a little bit about the process that goes into it. Now, there's a lot of very small text here. If you have a big TV, you can read some of this, but I'll just explain it in basic terms here. You have what's called a cap. The temperature is warmer near the surface, it rises and it cools. That's normal, but there's always sometimes an inversion here called a warm air inversion, and it basically blocks the air from rising even more. That's what's happening today. It's called the cap, and then as we head throughout the late morning, early afternoon, the temperatures climb and the air gets forced upwards due to terrain. It'll end up breaking that cap, and so clouds, as you can see here, which get trapped below that warm layer, they end up breaking through and producing thunderstorms. So think of it as if you have a lighter without any gas, and you throw it up in the sky and then you ignite it and it lights up. That's basically what all that thunderstorm fuel is. So today you can see those storms firing up due to that cap breaking, mainly in the higher elevations. Then by tonight it's quiet. Tomorrow, same story. Pop-up thunderstorms in the higher elevations, mainly in the Adirondacks. And then by tomorrow night, things are quiet. Saturday morning, dry start, warm afternoon in the mid-80s by Saturday evening with dry weather. So your 7-day forecast, so far the weekend looking pretty nice, lots of sunshine and warm temperatures. We climb into the mid to upper 80s, then pushing 91 by Monday as that summertime heat sticks around. And definitely enjoying that too, Gary. If you have any plans this weekend, maybe find ways to stay cool and hydrated, but still enjoy it. There's lots of sunshine.
That's for sure. Find someone with a pool.
Yes.
Eric, the time right now is 5:54.
With Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And you know, we mentioned it earlier, the haze doesn't want to go away, but the end is coming, right?
Yes, end is coming. We have, of course, the worst before the end today. The smoke begins to build in again, but yes, the good news is it's going to slowly improve. Let's take a look at what's going on outside today. There is sunshine, although for the past few days you probably noticed the sunshine, or at least the skies, really lacking that vibrant blue color. It's more of a white or gray. So this morning, we've got that on tap for the start of your day today. Temperatures in the 60s, by the way, in the Utica, Rome area. We're also tracking a few downpours firing up in mainly the Adirondacks, parts of Lake Ontario just northwest of Oswego, though. But that's about it for rainfall activity early this morning. In fact, actually, one lightning bolt detected out near Vermont outside of Saratoga Springs. But here locally, no rainfall expected at least until the early afternoon. Even then, there are pop-up showers, if that. Today's air quality slightly worse than yesterday, but this is not new smoke arriving. This is just smoke that was already present over the past few days. It's just wrapping its way back around and then exiting to our north as the wind pattern changes. So today's temperatures in the low to mid 80s. We're going to track that sunshine, isolated downpours today, plus the latest on that wildfire smoke. We have a few maps to show you coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. After an audit by the New York State.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back, everybody, on this Thursday morning. Time now 6:10, and as you head outside today, well, you're going to be encountering day 4 of haze and wildfire smoke, as well as some patchy fog. We can see some of that taking place at Oneonta right now. That haze in Utica, we can see it from our tower cam, a little hazy down there in Cooperstown as well. We look at some visibility maps right now. It's down to 1 mile in Hamilton, so Southern Valley's mainly getting some of that fog this morning. But other than that, it's looking entirely quiet. So our traffic tracker is green across the board today. No accidents to report of. And this morning, hazy start, temperatures in the 50s and 60s. By this afternoon, we'll see those temperatures climb into the 80s. While it's mostly dry, there's potential for a few afternoon pop-up thunderstorms. We'll track those. I'll explain why they're forming. And we'll also take a look at when all this wildfire smoke finally leaves our area in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The Harp Museum on Columbia Street in Utica.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Time now 6:18, going on 6:19, and this morning we are tracking haze, wildfire smoke, and a slight decrease in air quality compared to yesterday. Let's take a look at the live camera from Oneonta. A little bit hazy out there, a little foggy too. But the main story this morning, we've got dry conditions, but a few downpours possible this afternoon, primarily focused in the higher elevations. And I'll explain what's causing them coming up shortly. But for now, again, air quality today a little bit worse than yesterday. AQI between 140 and 160. Now, but that's only temporary. We look at the forecast for this smoke, and this is not new smoke. This is just smoke that has gotten trapped in the northeast and is finally shifting its way north. We're seeing a big improvement heading into the day Friday as well as into the weekend, of course. So it's a slow process. You got to give it time. There's no major forcing taking place when it comes to pushing all that smoke out. So with all of these pop-up storms, some of you might experience them yesterday. I'll explain why they happen, because we're not dealing with any fronts. These are just random pop-up storms. It all has to do with what's called a cap. And you can see the cap right here. If you're wondering, what is a cap? What I'm looking at, this line here. This line is a temperature near the surface. As you go way up in the sky, the temperature cools. But there's an inversion where the temperature warms a little bit before cooling again. That's like a barrier of this warm air right here. And on normal days, the clouds end at that inversion. But on a day like yesterday and today, as the air gets forced upwards due to topographical lift, it breaks the cap, and that allows thunderstorms to fire up. We can actually see that take place here in our Skycast. So imagine there's a very thin lid on the atmosphere, and as the air gets pushed over into the mountains and the Adirondacks and the Catskills, it breaks that lid, and watch those storms fire up. That's the case in what's going on today, and then the same thing for tomorrow. again, mainly higher elevations. A couple of them might stray into parts of the Mohawk Valley, but even then it won't last too long. Then by Saturday, there's no more cap to look for. It dries up. Temperatures climb into the 80s with plenty of sunshine and warmer temperatures as we head in the rest of the weekend. Upper 80s by Sunday, low 90s by Monday as that heat really kicks in. We are still in that August weather. Enjoy this heat because within the next couple of months, it gets harder and harder for 90-plus degree days to take place. So if you're a fan of heat, enjoy it. Sit by the pool. Go to some splash pads, too.
Oh, yeah.
Let the kids enjoy some of the summertime warmth while we still have it.
That's for sure. Not a bad 7-day, though.
Not too bad.
Overall. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. So once again, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Libitor, and that haze is sticking around, but for how much longer? Meteorologist Eric Gage joins us, and Eric, it's out there this morning, isn't it?
Yeah, haze returning again today. It's not new smoke, but it's smoke returning that's just over the Atlantic. Let's take a look right here at what's going on outside this morning, though. Aside from the haze, it's a dry start. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s. But, of course, with that haze in the sky, the sunshine today won't really look so vibrant. The blue you usually see in the sky is replaced by a whitish gray hue. The radar right now is dry. We are tracking a few downpours in the Adirondacks today, as well as a few downpours out near Vermont. But that's really the only storm activity here locally that we're tracking. Or I even should say locally, just in the vicinity of our radar. Vermont's quite a few hours away. We look at the air quality today. We are in the unhealthy category again, and it's again that's the lingering smoke slowly pushing its way back north again. We're not seeing any fresh smoke from the wildfires. That's since cut off and is now exiting toward the Hudson Bay, way up north of us. But today, we've got temperatures in the 80s, dry conditions for the most part, a few isolated thunderstorms. We're tracking those storms, plus, again, the latest on how long this smoke lasts coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Now to two very significant...
Channel 2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli. This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back, everybody, to News Channel 2 at sunrise on this Thursday morning. We're taking a look at our photo of the day today. This is a great shot here of the sun, and not just any shots, a sun which appears blood red. And if you're wondering what causes the sun to appear red when we see haze or smoke enter our area, and it's an interesting concept here. So sunlight is not just the color you see from the sun. Of course, don't look directly at it, of course, but it is a prism of colors, different wavelengths sent out by the sun, and that's why when you get rainfall, sometimes you can see rainbows. That's all that color split up into its different wavelengths. But when the wavelengths of light pass through more particles in the atmosphere, like smoke, the higher energy ones, like blue, green, purple, they get filtered out until you're left with the color red. So that's why the sun appears red when the air is smoky. So today we're tracking a bit more of that wildfire smoke. We'll have the latest on how long it's going to linger. Plus, if you saw a downpour yesterday, are you going to see another one today? All that and more coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. On Wednesday, a commemoration of the
Dependable Weather Team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Today we are tracking some more haze and wildfire smoke. It's returned a little bit, but I'll explain why and if more is exiting or entering. Let's take a look outside in Oneonta right now. A bit foggy outside early today, especially in parts of the southern valleys. And the radar is quiet here locally. We got a few downpours and thunderstorms taking place in parts of just outside of the capital region, Vermont, as well as parts of the Adirondacks. Air quality today, a little worse than yesterday, and the reason for it is not new smoke. It's the same smoke we dealt with over the past few days, but it's getting wrapped around again from a current from the southwest or southeast. And as we head throughout the next few days, we're going to see that smoke slowly decrease. So it's going to get worse before it gets better, but don't worry. It's a slow process. Air quality is going to improve. Some of you probably saw a thunderstorm yesterday. There were a couple of them firing up here and there. You might have driven through it. It was very heavy and some of that rainfall. I want to explain why we're seeing these pop-up storms. There's no fronts coming in. There's no cold front, which usually ushers in thunderstorms. So why are we seeing them? Well, it's all due to what's called the cap. And if you can read these texts, you can. It's some extra information. I'll just basically explain the gist of it right here. You got temperatures near the surface warm. They're colder as you go way up in the sky. But there's sometimes an inversion where the temperatures get warmer as you go up. That's called a warm air inversion. And you can see here when the air rises, it hits that barrier and it can't really rise anymore because warm air is less dense than cold air, so warm air rises. However, when we have a day like yesterday, even today, what happens is that air gets forced upwards due to that terrain, and that cap breaks, basically the lid in the atmosphere, which allows those storms or the clouds or air to continue to rise, producing storm clouds and sudden downpours and thunderstorms. Now, picture that, except over here on our Skycast. Watch it says some of these downpours fire up, the lid on the atmosphere breaks, and those thunderstorms produce heavy downpours, lightning, and whatnot. These are not severe storms, but they do produce a good amount of rainfall with a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. So today and tomorrow, higher elevations, biggest chance for pop-up thunderstorms. Saturday is the first day in a little bit will be entirely dry. Temperatures in the 80s with plenty of sun. And that heat really kicks in by Sunday and Monday. We approach the upper 80s to low 90s. Summertime in full swing as we enter this coming weekend and next week. And so we're going to keep a close eye on that wildfire smoke. Again, it is going to improve. It just takes a while. And so we'll be patient. We'll see the skies slowly turn more blue over the next few days.
It's been hovering over us for a while, that's for sure. Eric, thanks. The time right now is 6:54.
News with Gary Liberatore.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
With word of some serious haze out there from that camera.
Yeah, haze outside again. We're not done with it just yet, but it's going to slowly improve. We just got to get through this wave of it first. Take a look outside in Oneonta where, yeah, it's a little hazy out there. But this is not new smoke. This is just wildfire smoke that's been sitting around the northeast, and as the wind direction shifts, it's of course shifting back into our area. So here we are with some of that smoke out there. It's still 72 degrees, but the sun today pretty much, I wouldn't call it a beautiful sun. It's a hazy sunshine out there with a lot of that smoke up in the sky. 78 in Utica right now, or Utica-Rome area, and we look at the radar, and as expected, a few of these pop-up thunderstorms are passing through parts of the Adirondacks, the foothills heading into Fulton County right there, Catskill area down in parts of even close to the Albany County, heading toward Schoharie County, and then of course in Vermont. Much of this activity stays out east, but a couple of these stragglers could work their way into central New York, but it's very low chance. Unhealthy air quality again today, but we're going to see that improve as we head into the next few. Temperatures this afternoon go from the 80s down into the 60s. We'll track that smoke with the latest model forecast and how long this heat is going to last, if there's even more heat on the way coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. A traffic alert to tell you about at this hour due to
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today, still looking hazy. The wildfire smoke impacting our air quality a little worse than yesterday, but it's not new smoke. Again, as I mentioned previously, it is previous smoke that's being wrapped around the Northeast. But right now, we'll take a look at the Yorkville Battery live radar because there are a few downpours firing up here in the higher elevations of Fulton County, even parts of, say, Schoharie County down here toward the Catskills. Temperatures today peaking in the mid-80s, about as warm as we get. As we head throughout the afternoon and evening, conditions are going to cool down a little bit, but we do have some more heat on the way. We'll talk about that shortly. So air quality levels at an unhealthy stage like what we saw 2 days ago. And yes, it is expected to clear up, but we got to get through this band of smog and smoke first. As you can see here, once that south wind continues to push that smoke north, air quality is going to slowly improve. Keyword slowly. There's not going to be a rapid increase in quality. It's going to take a little while. So those downpours taking place in parts of our area, especially yesterday, you might have driven through one. What's causing it on a day like today where there's no major forcing, there's no real front coming in, there's no major system arriving? It all has to do with what's called a cap in the atmosphere. And you can read some of these small texts if you're able to. If not, I'll just explain it here. Basically, temperatures near the surface are warmer. They cool down as you go up. But sometimes you get what's called an inversion, where that temperature warms as it goes up, and that blocks air from rising. So you can see that cloud forming. There's the barrier, or the cap, and the storms that are trying to form can't. Unless you have, like we have in our area, which is high terrain, mountains, hills. That air gets forced upwards until it breaks the cap. And when it does that, it taps into that instability above it, and it'll produce some thunderstorms. And that was the case yesterday. That's the case today. As you can see here, thunderstorms popping up in the Adirondacks and the Catskills, even isolated pockets of Tug Hill. Then tomorrow, same story, a bit less widespread though, or at least a bit less coverage in that, mainly focused in the Adirondacks. Then, if you have any weekend plans in the Adirondacks, I recommend holding off on them on Friday, but then Saturday and Sunday is looking great. Dry weather, sunshine, temperatures in the mid-80s to eventually upper 80s by Sunday. You can see here lots of sun, and that heat isn't going away anytime soon. A high of 91 on Monday. And we're running the risk of a few storm chances next week. Now, we'll fine-tune the exact day of arrival, but still, either way, the one thing we're talking about here is the higher heat and the fact that air quality is going to, again, slowly improve. Wow. We've got to wait a few days, but we're going to see that get better. I mean, the smoke outside is unbelievable.
Yeah, those pictures you were showing earlier are pretty much the worst of the week.
Yes.
Yeah, Eric, thanks. Wild weather conditions continue to impact every corner of the country, from extreme heat in the southwest to flooding and, yes, the wildfire smoke here in the east. NBC's Liz Kreutz is in Tempe, Arizona, just outside of Phoenix, which is dealing with a dangerous, record-breaking heat wave.
Well, hey there. I mean, only in a place as hot as Arizona would you have a sculpture like this blasting out the temperature. And we expect that thermometer to hit the very top later today. I've been monitoring it all on my own thermometer here, watching the temperatures tick up right now. We expect it will be 116 degrees again here in Tempe today and reach 117 degrees in Phoenix. 37 million Americans right now are under this heat advisory and warning across the Southwest, from Colorado to California. All of that is also increasing some of the fire conditions, and there are about 40 fires burning across the Southwest right now. The largest one here by the Grand Canyon. There's also one that's more than 90,000 acres burning in central California. Here in Phoenix, fire officials have told us that they have these ice immersion bags on standby to try to help people dealing with heat stroke. And health officials say if you have to be outside today to try to get as much done as possible as early in the morning as you can, drink a lot of water, of course, stay hydrated, and take breaks every 45 minutes. Back to you.
NBC's Liz Kreutz reporting from Tempe. Coming up, new tariffs are now in effect. Meteorologist Eric Gage joining us, and you're watching some pop-up thunderstorms, some over to our east, right?
Yeah, Fulton County, parts of Hamilton County, a few pop-ups right here, as well as down in Sullivan County here. In fact, let's take it full screen. We can see where those storms are firing up, and there's no major front coming in. You can see how these storms aren't really moving. They're just kind of firing up and just boiling over one area for a while. And that was the case yesterday. That's going to be the case today, and the same case tomorrow. However, unlike yesterday, these storms are not going to be as numerous. Only be a few isolated ones, and primarily in this region right here in the state, surrounding pretty much the Hudson Valley and Capital Region and the highest elevations of the Adirondacks up here. Air quality today a little worse than yesterday, at an unhealthy stage right here. It's not going to get worse, though. In fact, following today, it's only going to improve slowly, but it will improve. Today's temperatures in the 80s, plenty of sun. Again, a very low chance of a pop-up thunderstorm, not nearly as high as yesterday. We dry out tonight. It's going to be a mainly dry day tomorrow with a pop-up storm possible. And then the weekend, although it looks mostly dry, is going to be hot. We're going to track those temperatures. Again, the latest on that wildfire smoke when it leaves coming up in a few short minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Today we are learning more about a...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. Still haze outside today. This whole week has just been a constant story of wildfire smoke, and you can see it outside in downtown Utica. A little hazy out there. In fact, a little more hazy than in the days past, or at least compared to yesterday. But this is about as hazy as it's going to get, because following today, it's going to improve, and I'll tell you why. First off, though, let's take a look at the radar, where we have some pockets of thunderstorms primarily impacting the Adirondacks, both the foothills of it and the high peaks region up north, parts of the Catskills, and heading out toward the east of the Capital Region, where a few of those are firing up in Vermont. Today's temperatures peaking in the low to mid 80s, and the skies, although mostly cloudless, don't quite look that way with all that haze out there. The color does not look blue at all. So that haze is outside, and the air quality at an unhealthy category. So a little worse than yesterday, but as I mentioned again, it's going to improve. Why? This is all that smoke that got carried east, and it's getting wrapped around and sent our way again. We're not getting any fresh smoke from the wildfires north and west of us. It's just collecting here locally. But as you watch the next few days, watch that smoke slowly lift. It's not a quick process. It's not going to suddenly turn into crystal blue skies in a couple of days. You still might see some of that haze in the short term. And so we mentioned the haze. How about those storms? Why are we seeing pop-up storms, especially yesterday, when there's no forcing, there's no major front coming in? It's all due to what's called the cap here. You got warm air near the surface. It cools down as it heads up in the sky. Warm air is less dense than cold air, so it rises above it. However, you have a barrier here. This warm air cap prevents those clouds from going higher. On a day like yesterday, the Mohawk Valley had that cap. Pretty much everywhere had the cap. But when that air gets forced upwards, it gets lifted and it breaks the cap. And in the process, it taps into that instability above it, and you begin to see some storms fire up. And that was the case yesterday. That's the case today. Although thankfully, or non-thankfully, depending on if you need the rain or if you're not a fan of the rain, either way, the storms are firing up mainly in the Adirondacks, in the Catskills today, maybe a stray one in the Tug Hill Plateau. Then tomorrow, a similar story. Now, maybe a couple of them are going to stray out and fire up due to basically a domino effect into the Mohawk Valley, but the chances, again, are very low. Then Saturday, we start out with sunshine. It remains dry for the entire afternoon with high temperatures in the 80s. So your 7-day forecast. We've got sunshine on tap Saturday and Sunday. Warm temperatures, too. We're talking upper 80s, pushing low 90s by Monday. So definitely a summertime feel out there. The last weekend was beautiful. This weekend is beautiful, but you might need to cool down a little bit, grab some extra lemonades or some ice-cold waters and sit by the pool and relax.
Definitely a nice week for our own Jolene Ferris, who had the whole week off. Good for her. She was glad that it was good weather. Well, a pedestrian cord.
Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
So we're still dealing with air quality issues. It's about the same as the past couple of days, maybe a little bit worse in spots. We're also tracking a few isolated storms to the east. It's been a pretty quiet day today. We're going to hold on to dry weather and a pretty nice evening. The air quality is about 125. That was the air quality index here over the past hour. So unhealthy for some groups, but tomorrow that level is going to drop. We actually see some changes here as the winds change direction. It's going to help clear out some of this smoke. Again, we'll still be dealing with some haze tomorrow, but it should start to get better here as we head into tomorrow and the weekend. 84 degrees, the current temperature. Not too much humidity out there. That's been one thing that's been relatively absent lately. Dew point at 55 degrees. It'll stay hazy this evening. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s. So we are tracking very warm weather heading into the weekend. A look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
About a month after filing for
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. Another lovely day across central New York. We are still tracking some air quality issues, some haze out there, temperature of 84 degrees. The good news is that there is an end in sight to the air quality problems. It is going to get a lot better here over the next 24 hours as the wind direction carries this Canadian wildfire smoke that's been just kind of lingering in central New York to the north. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. We are tracking a couple of sprinkles in Otsego County, a few thunderstorms across the Catskills and into eastern New York. The weather locally stays pretty quiet aside from very brief sprinkle in the southern valleys. A reminder, you can always get weather information on your phone by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Let's track the wildfire smoke. Again, it's been bringing us haze and it's been having an impact on air quality over the past couple of days. The winds will carry this smoke to the north, and by Friday, things get better. It doesn't completely go away, but you should notice a difference. It should be a little bit less hazy, and for those of you that are noticing this and struggling with this, it should be a little bit easier tomorrow. And then as we head into Saturday, conditions continue to improve as the smoke gradually lifts to the north. And at least for the foreseeable future, I'm not seeing another return to what we've been dealing with lately here over the next several days. Wanted to mention this. The 90-degree count is 7. We've had 7 days in the 90s so far this year. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because in the extended forecast, we are tracking some heat for multiple days. Dolgeville, 84 degrees. Little Falls, 86. Across southern valleys, 82 in Norwich. Cooperstown, 81. Pretty comfortable out there today. The humidity is low, which means we're going to cool off again tonight as high pressure is in control. The weather stays quiet for the short term as this high moves to the east. The wind direction turns into the south, and that brings in hotter temperatures heading into the weekend. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast tonight, we drop down into the low 60s. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies. Temperatures climb into the low 80s. We're looking at quiet weather. Tomorrow night, mostly clear. Overnight lows drop down into the 60s. Saturday looks beautiful. A really nice start to the weekend. Lots of sunshine, but it's also very warm with high temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. Partly cloudy tonight, low of 61. Tomorrow, partly sunny, less haze compared to the past several days. Better air quality, 83 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast, 87 on Saturday, partly sunny, lots of sunshine Sunday, 90. It's hot next week, low 90s, Monday and Tuesday. We do this 3 days in a row. That would make it a heat wave. We'll see. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s Wednesday and Thursday. I always feel like I'm jinxing it by predicting it. Like I feel like one day is going to be 89, but it'll be close enough.
But 89, like it could be like, that's 5 days in a row, technically. I mean, 89.
Close enough, I know.
Close enough.
I don't think it works that way. But we do need a good, powerful storm to turn the water on Oneida Lake. I know a lot of people worried about the algae. And
Right.
That's something, we got to get out there. We can't have the hot weather without the ability to swim.
Exactly. All right, thank you, Bill. Now to the wild weather condition and wildfire smoke in the east.
Yeah, reporter Liz Kreutz is just outside Phoenix, which is dealing with a dangerous, record-breaking heat wave.
The country is combating wild weather from coast to coast, from dangerous downpours to out-of-control wildfires to oppressive heat. Over 30 million Americans are under heat alerts today.
It is really hot right now.
The summer temps reaching sweltering highs, expected to smash records from Colorado to California. And it's unbelievably hot in Arizona. Phoenix melted its previous record high on Wednesday, reaching 116 degrees and expected to go even higher today. Firefighters telling us they're on standby with these cold water immersion bags to treat people suffering from heat stroke. Crews use one on this man who collapsed in over 100-degree heat while hiking.
Once we start reaching that 110, 115-degree weather, people need to take every precaution before going out in the heat.
The relentless heat fueled red flag warnings and the potential for wildfires. Across the West, more than 40 large fires are actively burning, including this one in California that has charred more than 90,000 acres. Near the Grand Canyon, the 7th largest blaze in state history is still growing. While further east, rising water is the problem. In the Carolinas, another day of heavy rain and flash floods taking a fatal turn. Authorities in Nash County say 2 people were swept away and drowned after their car was trapped in high waters as the dangerous weather continues from coast to coast.
And coming up, the Utica Fire Department grows by a...
Get you back to Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. Possibility of northern lights this week?
Yeah, we might be able to catch this late tonight. There's a piece of energy that's on its way from the sun, and it's expected to produce a G2 solar storms. That's enough where we could see the lights here. There's a few problems tonight. The biggest one is the wildfire smoke. It's still out there. It could make for a little bit difficult conditions to watch, but skies are expected to be partly cloudy here. This could continue into tomorrow night too, and we would have a better chance of seeing this. Another thing, if I'll be out tonight looking here from Smith Hill, if I do happen to catch them, we'll be sending out an alert on the WKTV weather app. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. A few sprinkles out there this evening, mainly along higher terrain. The majority of the area is going to stay dry. Look at these temperatures. We're going to be warming up. We'll be in the low 80s tomorrow, be in the upper 80s Saturday, and then we could have a heat wave Sunday through Tuesday with temperatures in the low 90s. Heading out this evening, if you're taking the dog out for a walk, the weather looks pretty quiet. Partly sunny skies, temperatures in the low 80s. Tonight's featured dog Lulu from Utica. If you want to be part of this, you can post dog pictures on Skycast, WKTV on Facebook. This is brought to you by Nissan. Kristen, back to you.
The Boilermakers early registration.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We are continuing to track haze across central New York. Some air quality issues remain in place. The air quality index is at about 125. So if you're sensitive to this, you're going to want to limit your time outdoors. Continue to do so through the rest of this evening. We do expect the air quality to improve as the wind direction changes. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. For the most part, it's been a pretty quiet afternoon. I am noticing a couple of showers popping up across Otsego County. We have one that's in the central western part of the county. That's near Edmonston, heading very slowly to the north. Showers and storms should be pretty isolated this evening, but we can't rule that out. Reminder, you can always get weather information on your phone by downloading the Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Saturday night is the full moon. It technically becomes full very early Saturday morning at a little bit before 4 a.m. So I guess it depends on how you see it. Is it tomorrow night or is it Saturday night? If you go by the calendar, it's Saturday, so we'll just do that, keep it simple. Moonrise, 8:40, moonset, 7:18. It's the full sturgeon moon, the full moon of August. Good news, the wildfire smoke is finally going to start to lift. Wind direction changes for consecutive days, and this should improve the air quality. It is going to be a slow process, but by tomorrow morning, I think you'll notice less haze in the air compared to the past several days. By Saturday morning, hopefully the air quality will be good enough for everyone to get out and enjoy. We have 7 days where temperatures have been in the 90s, and I think we're going to be adding to this list over the next 7 days too. A couple of chances of 90-degree weather in our future. Bob and Clinton, 85 degrees. Barneveld, 78. Curtis, 77. Donna and Norway, 82. Cross Southern Valleys, Westford, 76. And Skidivus with 81. High pressure in control of our weather. It's been a very benign weather pattern. Dry conditions for the most part. A couple of isolated storms in eastern New York. High pressure is going to gradually push to the east. Is going to change the wind direction. should help clear out some of that poor air quality. Tonight, overnight lows drop down to the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies. Temperatures climb into the low 80s. The weather remains dry tomorrow night. Mostly clear skies, overnight lows in the 60s. Saturday, we'll start to notice a warm-up, and it does turn a little bit more humid, too. High temperatures climb into the upper 80s. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 61. Tomorrow, less hazy, partly sunny, 83. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. It's hot as we head into early next week. 90 degrees Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. If we hit 3 days in a row, that would make it an official heat wave. Overnight lows will be in the mid to upper 60s. Showers, thunderstorms possible late Tuesday. No signs of a cool down anytime soon. Highs remain in the upper 80s Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be right back.
Time now for a first look at the forecast at 6 with Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Another nice day today. We have the haze that remains in the air. Air quality not great. And that is going to gradually improve over the next 24 hours, finally. It's a live look at the Erickville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. The majority of the area is dry, but there are a couple of isolated showers across the southern valleys in Otsego County. These are not moving very quickly, so there will be a couple of downpours south of the Mohawk Valley this evening. So air quality is not great for many. We're in the orange today, the air quality index at 125, but I do expect that number to go below 100 tomorrow. So we're still in the moderate category, but it should be a noticeable difference compared to the last several days. The air quality is expected to get better heading into the weekend. 83 degrees, sunny skies. Dew point's still pretty low. We haven't had much humidity lately. Temperatures will remain in the 70s this evening. Again, an isolated shower. A nice stretch of weather heading into the weekend, but it does get hot. We've got to look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. Oneida High School still suffering from the extreme.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
We're continuing to track poor air quality. The haze continues across central New York. This is a live look in Oneonta. It doesn't look very much different compared to yesterday, and the air quality is about the same. It's been hovering between about 100 and 125, so that puts it in the category where it's unhealthy for some. Younger people, elderly, people that have underlying health conditions may want to continue to limit their time outdoors. The good news is the weather is going to carry this smoke out. This air quality issue comes from wildfire smoke. There's going to be a change in the wind direction going forward. A couple of showers out there, a couple of downpours in Otsego County this evening. These are very slowly moving westward. There's very little wind in the environment, so these will eventually dissipate as we head past sunset. Reminder, you can always get weather information by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app on your phone. Looking at the big picture, high pressure is going to move to the east. That means the smoke is going to be carried to the north, and we will see improvements beginning tomorrow. Now, it's not going to go away in one day, but we should see an improvement. Less haze tomorrow. The air should be easier to breathe for folks that are having a problem with this. And by Saturday, the air does start to become good. Air quality should reach favorable levels and stay that way heading into the weekend. I'm not really seeing a return to the smoke anytime soon. We get more into a southerly wind pattern. The wind's coming from the south. That should keep us away from Canadian wildfire smoke. Saturday night is the full moon. We should have a pretty good view of that, too, with skies remaining clear. Clear skies tonight, but unfortunately, we have some wildfire smoke. The reason why I say that is because the northern lights are predicted to come out after midnight, and we might be able to see this, but again, we're going to be contending with some wildfire smoke. 7 days above 90 degrees so far. I think we'll be adding more to this as we head into next week. Got some hot weather on the way. New Hartford, Mike, 83 degrees. Old Forge, 78. Skinevus, 81. High pressure continues to dominate the headlines in the Northeast. A couple of isolated showers out there today. I don't expect to see this to continue tomorrow. I think we're completely dry. Mostly partly cloudy skies tonight. Overnight lows drop down into the 60s. Tomorrow, a nice day, partly sunny. Temperatures climb into the low 80s. We'll see improving air quality as we head into Friday night and Saturday. Saturday looks beautiful. Mostly sunny skies. A south wind's going to help bring temperatures into the upper 80s, and it might start to turn noticeably more humid as we head into the second half of the weekend. Partly cloudy tonight, low of 61. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies, less hazy, 83 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. 87 Saturday, mostly sunny. It's hot Sunday, 90. We could be seeing 3 days in a row at or above 90 degrees. Could make it an official heat wave.
All right. Bill, thank you.
Add to our total, all right? Thank you, Bill. Still to come on News Channel 2 at 6, Colgate. Time for a first look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. Still talking about the air quality out there. Not unhealthy like it was earlier today for tomorrow, but we're still not in the clear yet, are we?
Yeah, we're not going to be in the clear, but it does get better, finally, because we haven't had really any change here for almost an entire week. But tomorrow, the air quality takes a step down. It will be moderate as opposed to unhealthy. What does that mean? It means there'll be less haze, and folks that have been dealing with this, more sensitive to this, will notice it less tomorrow compared to today. The northern lights could become a thing later tonight. We've got some energy that's coming from the sun. This is called a CME, a coronal mass ejection. And what this does is as it moves towards Earth, it interacts with the Earth's atmosphere, and it produces very colorful lights in the northern and the southern hemisphere if everything comes together. So we're expecting this to arrive after midnight tonight. And again, there is the chance that we could see it. Of course, we are going to be looking through this through the wildfire haze. But if this continues into tomorrow night, we might have a better chance of seeing it. Scattered showers out there this evening, few and far between though. Temperature of 74 degrees. It's turning more humid out there tonight. Overnight lows will drop down into the mid-60s. We are tracking some hot weather in our future. We'll look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. It's a long road.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're taking a live look at downtown Utica. A little bit of a haze out there still. Temperature of 74. It is a little bit warmer tonight than the past couple of nights. We have a little bit more in the way of cloud cover, too, and a few sprinkles out there. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. We are noticing a few sprinkles in Otsego County, along with Hamilton County. These sprinkles will eventually come to an end tonight, and the weather is looking pretty good as we head into Friday. Again, the air quality is going to be a little bit better Friday into the moderate category. Check out how the weather changes and how the weather is going to impact the smoke. Winds, we're going to push the smoke to the north as we head into Friday morning. There still will be a haze out there, but it should be a little bit better throughout the day. The wildfire smoke not quite as thick as the past couple of days. By Saturday, I think that's when you're really going to notice a difference. The winds are going to continue to carry the smoke to the north, and hopefully we don't deal with this again for the rest of the week. But can't promise anything beyond that because those wildfires are still going in Canada, and there's always a chance that this could return just based on the long-term wind projection. You can always get weather information on your phone by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. The moon is full on Saturday. It rises at 8:40 and it sets at 7:18 in the morning. It's the full sturgeon moon. That's the full moon given for August. By the way, the moon tonight had a nice red tint to it as the wildfire smoke impacted it, producing more scattering in the atmosphere, kind of like a nice sunset. Same thing happens with the moon close to the horizon. We've had 7 days this summer where temperatures have been in the 90s. I think we're going to be tacking more to this with some hot weather on the way. High pressure is going to move to the east. It's going to change the wind direction. So our south wind kicks in tonight. Overnight lows drop down into the 60s. Partly sunny skies tomorrow. I think we escape any rain. Temperatures climb into the low 80s. On Saturday, the humidity starts to increase. Overnight lows Friday night into Saturday drop down into the low 60s. Saturday looks beautiful. Lots of sunshine, noticeably warmer, noticeably more humid. High temperatures climb into the upper 80s. Partly cloudy tonight, low of 61. Tomorrow, partly sunny, less hazy, highs in low 80s. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Mostly sunny Saturday, 87. Mostly sunny Sunday, 90. 91 Monday, 91 Tuesday. 3 days in a row could make it a heat wave. Showers, thunderstorms Tuesday afternoon, but it stays hot. Temperatures still close to 90 Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be right back.
Time now for a first look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. Still dealing with some air quality issues going into tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, but it's going to be a little bit better. It feels like this smoke is not ever going to leave.
All right.
We've been dealing with this for multiple days in a row, a good portion of the week. But winds are finally going to change direction and actually do something. The winds have just been too light lately. We should start to see some improvements. And it's going to be a process. Don't expect things to completely clear out tomorrow. But again, it will be a little bit better. By Saturday, I think we're really going to see some improvements. Northern lights might come out late tonight or Friday night. We have some energy from the sun called a CME, a coronal mass ejection, that was launched about 24 hours ago, and it's expected to impact Earth's atmosphere late tonight. And it's this energy that produces bright lights in the northern and the southern hemisphere. These particles interact with Earth's atmosphere, and when these things hit just right, we can see the northern lights. And again, there's the chance here late tonight as well as Friday. Now, tonight we have the wildfire smoke to contend with, so it's not really the best viewing locally. We also have a couple of sprinkles out there and partly cloudy skies. It's a little bit warmer tonight compared to the past couple of nights. 71 degrees, clear skies. Temperatures tonight will drop down into the 60s. Good night to run the air conditioner. Remember, that is safe to use during poor air quality. We are tracking much warmer weather. We're actually a potential heat wave in our forecast. Look at that, it's coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. It's a long road.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We are tracking some haze, some poor air quality, at least for the short term, but there will be some changes there. 71 degrees, a live look in downtown Utica. We've been tracking a couple of sprinkles out there this evening. Not a whole lot of activity, but a few showers, especially in Otsego County, along with the Adirondacks. Hamilton County also seeing a few showers. The air quality does improve tomorrow. We're going to take a step up on this chart. We're going to go from unhealthy for some to moderate. The winds are finally going to start to make an impact here, and it's going to start to blow the smoke to the north. Now, it's not going to happen all at once. Don't expect everything to be clear tomorrow. We still expect some haze. We still expect some air quality issues, but it does get better. I think by Saturday, you'll notice the air start to clear out, and Saturday air quality is expected to be good once again. Reminder, you can always download our Storm Tracker 2 weather app, have weather on the go. Also Saturday, the full moon takes place, the full sturgeon moon. It rises at 8:40, sets at 7:18. We had a great view of the moonrise tonight. It was red because of the wildfire smoke. It's pretty neat to see. Almost kind of reminds me of a lunar eclipse. When the Earth's shadow goes in front of the moon, it gets really dark, but it also has that red color for a different reason, of course. But again, I think that'll be the case tomorrow night, too. As we look at the long range, there are signs that the weather pattern is going to heat up. In fact, I think we're going to be adding more 90-degree days to our tally. We've had 7 so far. A typical summer has 5, so already above average. I think we're going to continue to climb and add to that total over the next couple of days here, especially by early next week. Bigger picture, high pressure is going to move to the east, and that's going to change the wind direction. It's going to allow for some of that heat to arrive. Tonight, overnight lows drop down into the 60s, partly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy tomorrow, a pleasant day. Temperatures climb into the low 80s. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy. Saturday, lots of sunshine. Saturday looks warmer as south wind kicks in, the humidity rises, so does the temperature. Partly cloudy tonight, low of 61. Tomorrow, partly sunny, less hazy, 83 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Mostly sunny over the weekend. Gorgeous weekend ahead, but it's going to be hot. 87 Saturday. We do cool down into the low 60s Saturday night. 90 Sunday, 91 Monday, 91 Tuesday. That could be a heat wave if that works out. Showers, thunderstorms possible Tuesday, and no sign of a cool down. Highs in the upper 80s Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be right back.